What's up, boys?
Yo,
Hello,
yo.
hello. Can you
How
hear me all
goes it?
right?
I can hear you good.
Yeah, I
Perfect.
can hear you.
Perfect.
Welcome. GM. Another day, another lovely Eden episode. Today we're joined by our esteemed Parliament member, JC Denton, and Weka XYZ. What's good, guys?
Hello, everyone.
Hello. It feels good to be here in the studio, finally.
In the stew, cooking up.
Yeah, it's
Very good.
beautiful to be here.
So I want to get started a little bit like yesterday or 2 days ago when we had Top Tick on. Um, People listening to me and DK every day, they're probably used to hearing from us. They probably know a little bit about us. But Weka, why don't you give a brief intro on just kind of what you're doing right now in Brypto and what makes you a terminally online crypto junkie?
Yeah, what's up? So I work at Premia. I work on the content side of things. I also do some marketing campaigns, stuff like community quests and initiatives, stuff like this. And lately, I've been mostly focused on the academy. So I like to call myself the options educator nowadays on Twitter. I also started doing some educational, like bite-sized option stuff, just tweets, singular tweets on Twitter. So people can learn without having to actually go through an entire article on their own. And in my free time, I lose money on chain.
Very good. Very important work.
Yeah.
All right, and Denton, people have seen you around. You're a frequent guest on the Hero podcast. You've joined us on some of our stuff. But
Yeah.
but who are you? Who is the mythical JC Denton?
I'd say I'm a crypto native. Um, been around for a long time. Started mining Dogecoin in 2013. Uh, yeah, and it's been a bumpy ride, but it's been good lately. Helping out Premia as an esteemed member of the parliament. Also helping out with the community, some of the Twitter, some of the marketing stuff. Uh, yeah, it's been a fun year.
How's the Parliament been so far? Has it kind of lived up to what you imagined when you applied to it?
Uh, I think it's a really good initiative. Um, I think it's good to have a close group of people that the devs can ask for advice to about basically everything, uh, from like things about the governance, tokenomics, to even simple things like if a certain Twitter thing or marketing thing is good or not. I like it a lot. Um, we'll just see how the next selection goes. If there's some more active people that would like to join, uh, yeah.
Yeah, so for people that don't know or aren't aware, at Premia we have a group that's very similar, I'd say, to kind of like a synthetics council. Um, it's an elected group of 10 members from the community that were voted in by the community, and they are kind of the bridge between the two and help us with a lot of the decision making that goes into changes to governance, tokenomics, as they said, marketing things, uh, giving us kind of an eye in from a different lens than the developers and people working on the protocol. Because one thing that's very common, I think, not even in crypto, but just in tech and when you're building applications, is you get tunnel vision when you're working on the project. You'll have certain ideas, certain ideals, certain things that you think need to go into something or that you need to have for it to work. And that's just your vision, right? Like you don't know what the user is actually wanting. So this app that you're building, it could just be for you and maybe like the small group of people that think the way you do. So with insight from the users and the people that are kind of on the ground level, not face down in, thinking of new ways, new products, new ways to do things with the current set of products that they already have or architecture that they have in place. It helps you kind of make more educated decisions. So that's been fun so far. Been a lot of a lot of strenuous weekends in the beginning, but
Yeah.
everything's been going great. I think we got a really good group.
I always like to put myself in the position of either an outsider or a newbie, and it gives a good perspective whenever you're doing something that is facing an audience.
So, Weka, you said you're losing money on chain. What have you been losing money on lately?
I'm glad you asked. I've been just trying to scan over all the new L2s because I've been kind of behind on all the developments on that sector. I visited Warsaw and there was a lot of builders from these L2s over there, so I kind of got intrigued and wanted to see what all the fuss is about. I've been throwing shit around on Mantle, Base, and no, I just wanted to go back to CK Sync and see what's going on over there, but it honestly feels like a ghost town at times. I know there were some new Ponzi's cooking up on Base. Maybe Denton can tell us more about that.
Yeah, base farm. You want to hear about that?
Talk about it.
It's a tomb fork. Anyone that is familiar with Tomb knows that it's the best Ponzi. This one is on top of a solidly fork aerodrome, and actually aerodrome boosted Base's TVL by like 2 times. Literally, like it went from like 200 mil to like 390 mil as soon as aerodrome launched. Um, Based Farm had Genesis pool for sorry, for 3 days. They got like 10, 11 million TVL. Actually, a couple of my friends are involved in it. That's how I got to know it. Now it's in like the second stage where there's the LP farm, and actually a lot more people pulled in the LP than I thought would. It's literally like 154 ETH in LPs, and it started from one. Like the protocol only put in one. So 150 ETH farming at like 10k percent APR right now, and the token that is supposed to be pegged to ETH is at like $2,000. So we'll see
Wow.
how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It really is.
Base.farm.
I should just ape when you post things blindly again. You know, the I guess like macro trend of the
Sometimes.
market has me whenever I see things like that are like reskins of like the old Ponzi's that we were doing last year, I get PTSD and I think how many people that were participating last season see this and are going to do it, and like
Yeah.
how much faster is it going to collapse because they're going to like turbo run the game part of it and
Yeah.
just start dumping everything on
You
everyone.
can see these big apes on chain, like people with like one wallet with $8 million. One guy put in like 700k at once in the Genesis pool on an unaudited contract. But yeah, it's two,
Friend of the dev.
so it's like multiple stages,
Yeah,
and
I remember. I
you've got
remember
the
very well.
share token, which is not out yet, so it's gonna be interesting to see how it develops.
The tokens with all the seniorage coins, I did well in the first half, and then when the forks began happening,
So
not the straight forks, but the ones that were that had some twists to them, like they were using bespoke assets to peg themselves to, or they had different methods of calculating like their peg. Like my favorite one probably was, I forgot who made it back then, but it was like they used the golden ratio and it was pegged to gold. So like Quenta at the time had like abysmal volume, and out of nowhere they were doing like millions of volume a day in SXAU and like the synthetic gold, because everyone was just like aping hundreds of thousands of dollars into this like synthetic gold or minting it to push into this Ponzi.
Man.
I missed those days.
Do
Yeah,
you
now it's
remember-
like
You
go
remember
ahead.
Tomb, like Tomb, like number 2?
I remember Tomb too. There was a guy who was like
the guy
really
who made
into
it for giving. He's he's in the Based Farm Discord. Like all these people are still hanging out. They all know each other. The Solidly people too.
It's a cabal. It's like
The Phantom
it's
Cabal.
the Phantom VE cabal.
Yeah.
I just saw that there was a protocol last night in Arbitrum Gamble computer that got exploited. Did you guys see that?
Yeah. I was originally meaning to even participate in the pre-sale, but I heard from someone that the dev is a douche, and so I just kept my hands off. And in hindsight, I'm
Oh
glad I
yeah.
did.
I know
Yeah.
some of the guys involved. They're nice guys. They're good
Alright,
guys.
alright.
So was it an exploit?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't catch up on it yet because I wanted to jump into this and like get some content ready for us to talk about. But from what I like saw cursory looking over was that someone exploited like the house contract. They were able to get half of it back. They were in contact with the person who did it. Um, if I were the person that did it, I would just refund the rest of it. He was trying to like, keep a significant portion. They offered him 10%,
Mm-hmm.
white hat bounty, and the guy pretty much like laughed in his face.
Hmm.
So they just, I can tell you that they pretty quickly put together a war room. They've got a lot of big brains and like some of the top guys on the security side of things in DeFi that are digging in or dug in last night. So if I were that guy who did the exploit, I would pray that my OPSEC was super tied up given the kind of attitude and stance that he took in the messages to the team. Um, and for what I've seen thus far, it doesn't seem like he was locked up too tight. So, be a bad day for him soon if he doesn't send it all back. Either way, it was going pretty well. It was another like Degen Casino type game. We'll see if it pops back. Other thing that's going on that just happened this morning was Amin over from Moloch DAO. I don't think he shared that a new paper got released by Vitalik, Jacob Ilm from Chainalysis, Matt Nadler, and Fabian Shafar. But it's a new like privacy protocol essentially, privacypools.com. And what they're aiming to do is improve on the flaws of Tornado Cash. And kind of what they were saying is Tornado Cash, you're not able to probably disassociate from illicit funds except by revealing your whole transaction history. With privacy pools, you can publish zero knowledge proofs that their withdrawals originate from an association set that excludes known illicit deposits. So in theory, this allows users to prove regulatory compliance and still maintain privacy while using public blockchains. Amin launched privacy pools, I believe, the demo at ETH Denver, and yeah, I'm pretty excited to see this roll out. For me, it's not about like obfuscation of funds, obviously for nefarious reasons. It's simply because like we I'm trying to think of the best way to put it, right? Like we live in a world where in regular society it is very rude and off-putting to just walk up to someone and say, "How much money do you have? How much money is your bank account? Show me. Show me right now." But in crypto, people have no problem walking up to someone and saying, "Prove to me you have that money. Show me on the chain right now." Right? And like
Yeah.
yeah, it's on chain for anyone to see, so
I was
you go
arguing with
find it,
someone. I was arguing with someone about Tornado that the mere existence of it or the usage of it or making it is not a crime because you
It's not at
can
all
use
like
it. You can use it and report everything you did. That's up to you
yeah,
between you and the government. You can use it to obfuscate your stuff from the public. That's not a crime. Like
Yeah, if I want to use an ENS to collect NFTs, like I don't need people knowing where I'm sending the money afterwards to then cash out. Like I don't need them knowing what exchanges I'm
Yeah,
using.
some exchanges
Uh,
have a unique address for you, so that's another thing.
yeah, like there are so many just the like nature of sleuthing, right? And like people knowing that they're easily able to get into your business um, is enough of a reason to have something that obfuscates what's going on in between point A and point B. Um, yeah, I used to use Tornado quite a bit. I have an OpenSea account that got locked, and I was really pissed about it, just because like it had sent and received to Tornado Cash. Um, but anyway, Privacy Pool seems like a cool new implementation for Ethereum. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see if they quickly come in and shut this down, or if they allow us to have some sort of obfuscation tooling that lives on Ethereum.
So
Were
they
you a Tornado
blacklisted
user,
you.
Weka? They
No,
black,
I'm a crypto zoomer, man.
yeah, they blacklisted one of my. It was really odd too, because I had no idea what it would have been from at first. Like it was
Yeah.
that address I had bought, like I don't know, a few like higher value ENSs on. I had like some other random like NFTs, like nothing like I wasn't trading on there, right? So like it couldn't have been because they flagged you for thinking that you were wash trading, or like you bought a stolen NFT. Like there was nothing weird that was happening on that account. Like I wasn't doing anything on it besides minting a few NFTs and like sniping some ENSs.
Yeah.
Um,
But you
so
can
yeah,
still sell
when
them on Blur or something, right?
yeah, I can sell everything on Blur, and like a lot of the stuff there, I just like use pseudo swaps bulk like OTC thing, and I just like swapped them to myself for one USDC. That's a good way around it. Like if you need to get things to a different address in bulk for NFTs, or for like a combination of tokens and NFTs, if you're trying to like bulk move things from one address to another.
Hmm.
I don't think a lot of people know that that exists who weren't using pseudo when it like first came out. But it's a really cool feature. Um, yeah, what are your thoughts on the privacy stuff?
I
How do you
think
feel
there's
about bringing privacy to ETH? Do you think that Tornado? I know you don't, JC, but Weka, what are your thoughts on
yeah,
privacy
sorry.
stuff on ETH? As a
Yeah,
Zoomer, do you just feel like it's like who cares? It's too much. Like why would I go through the trouble of using an app to hide stuff when I'm trying to do things quick?
yeah.
Or
I mean, there's the part of me that thinks that transparency is an essential part of blockchain, but at the same time, I agree with all the points you guys put forth earlier about if I want to withdraw my money to an address, like I don't need anyone to know, or I don't need the public to know what exchange I'm using, and stuff like this. And like Denton said, I think earlier, is using Tornado Cash should be completely fine. Like Tornado Cash should not be blacklisted or whatever, or using it should not get you blacklisted anywhere. And it's just going to be between you and the government to communicate what you've done with the protocol and what you've used it for. Yeah.
I do think that transparency it's obviously like one of the key pillars and like features of blockchain. But I think like where that matters is um like on the protocol side, right? What matters more, I guess, like you want to see a protocol's treasury. You want to see their financial transactions. You want to see the where money is going, how much they're paying people, like those kinds of things, like a traditional business. And I think that's where like blockchain kind of shines in that aspect on the transparency side of things. Because like if you're trying to get the financials for like you could just look at a crypto company, right? Like one of the centralized exchanges, trying to get an audit done and get real numbers from them is like impossible. like literally impossible. But auditing a protocol on chain is very easy.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
no one's hiding their multi-sig address, right? Because nobody would trust that protocol. But as an individual, as like a plebeian using blockchain, you shouldn't have to worry, I think, about who is monitoring everything that you're doing, right? Because like the Black Mirror side of blockchain is that it is a monitoring tool, that everything is transparent, that there was this conspiracy early on that like Bitcoin was a psyop to create a money system that was traceable. and
Yeah.
and, uh, and like you look at like what was his name? There were a few early Bitcoin developers that had ties to like MI6 or the CIA and stuff like that. So there was some like rooting in these conspiracies, but that's why I think like for the individual user, privacy tools like privacy pools, Tornado Cash, like have a use case, have a place, um, and transparency. Like one of the key features of blockchain will still shine through where like it matters. You can't hide the transaction that's like causing an exploit, right? Like the only thing you'd be able to hide then is where the funds went after, and given it seems like given the tooling that sleuths have, it's not that difficult to even trace through like some of these services. I used to deal with them quite a bit. We used to get approached by like Chainalysis and some of the not at Premia, at a previous place. Um, and I don't remember what it was they were doing, but there were a lot of people that were kind of shying away from partnering with them or using some of the other on-chain analytical and security partners because of. I wish I could think about this. This was like 4 or 5 years ago,
Well,
but I know there was definitely like a dark side of like what was going on.
probably
Um,
advanced much more by now. The analysis tools.
yeah, yeah, that part scares me a bit. Not for me, just like in when you think about things and how they're going to progress, like as a future system.
yeah.
Yeah,
I can see how it could go to a more dystopian direction.
it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
What do you think about Arkham, Weka?
I just think it's extremely funny, and that there's a protocol that exists where you can get paid to dox people. I think it's a bit low and slightly disturbing, but I try to stay away from it.
The only part that the part that bothers me is like the people who claim that they're like crypto ethos like based, and then they were like doing Arkham stuff to farm the airdrop, or they made accounts and they were like talking about how they were going to use it for their edge. It's like, why are you giving these people credit? Why are you giving them money?
Yeah, yeah,
They're like total grifters, and it goes against like everything I think that is like crypto. But I will say that when I checked out a link to the exploiter from like Gamble Computer, and it is a pretty cool UI that they provide. Nonetheless, I think it's I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. I
J-
get it.
JC, what are your thoughts on it? Do you think
Uh,
because it would exist, it should exist, or do you think that people should have done more to try to bury it?
uh, I think the first thing, like, these things are gonna exist. I don't, I don't mind. Um,
On the topic of privacy and things like this, I think there's a use case, or there's an avenue where identifying certain people on chain can be an actually useful thing. But say you were to have like a credential to prove that you have something, a credential IRL, and you can just bring it on chain. But I don't think there's been a mechanic to do this in a permissionless or a trustless fashion yet. Because I spoke with the WorldCoin guys in Warsaw, and there's a future where WorldCoin is actually a useful infrastructure provider for on-chain credentials and just linking on-chain and IRL in that way. But I just don't see how we could get there in a permissionless way.
I need to talk to someone who is like very privy to WorldCoin and has been around for a little while, because back in 2017, 2018, there was a project called Civic. I don't know if Denton, you may remember this. But
sure.
they were like an on-chain identity, credentialing protocol. And what they did was you could load, like all of your personal identifiable like credentials onto their platform. And then there would be like requests, right? So like someone would send a request saying that they need like X information from your Civic ID, and it would only allow them to like pull that info from you. So it's like all of your information wasn't on chain or wasn't open in public on chain to everyone, but people could access the part of your Civic identity that was needed to verify you for certain things. I want to know what happened to that, because like I feel like the whole WorldCoin thing and like the on-chain identity, it brings me back to that. And like every time that I see this type of stuff, it just like reinforces that time is a flat circle, that people just keep reinventing.
Everest ID?
I remember Everest ID too. Yeah. Like, but like we just keep getting like reskins of old ideas with new money and new like main characters for them.
Their whole gimmick was remittances, like onboarding people from countries where they have issues onboarding.
Yeah,
that was their gimmick word.
Yeah, there were. I feel like back then it was on-chain credentials and credit cards. Crypto credit cards and on-chain credentials.
All these, like, you remember all the meme coins that they would add some gimmick where you can use their meme coin and some credit card service, and they call it like a utility.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know, but I partnered with Apple to set up my FriendTech account.
Oh.
Yeah. So VX Cozy shares on FriendTech. You're officially an Apple partner, Tim Apple.
And your ISP and the people that made your computer, the people that made your monitor. So many partners.
Yeah, Samsung, Shure, Elgato. I've got stacked partnerships here. On the topic of like crime, privacy, and all this stuff, have you been keeping up on what went on with Stake? Stake.com?
Also, no.
Oh.
So it's a betting platform, and they had over 40 million worth of assets stolen between Ethereum and their Binance hot wallets.
What happened after that? Rollbit pumped a bit. So
yeah,
someone just traded that a bit because someone told me. But go on.
I haven't checked on it today. No, I haven't checked on it today, but they were insisting that funds are safe and its other hot wallets remain operational. The thing is, like, if it were another platform, I would be calling bluff. But Stake probably has so much money that the 40 million is like, yeah, that sucks. But I tend to lean towards believing that their user funds are safe.
Funds are safe.
Yeah, I tend to believe that it's Safu. You have a crypto betting platform, the type of revenue you're making and funds you probably have on deck are on the significant side.
How old are they? How old is the platform?
I don't fucking know. I feel like I've heard about stake for a long time, like that they were doing stuff before crypto betting, but I could be wrong. What else we got going on? Bots, dude. Bots are out of control. You know what? I need to have a word with Elon. When Elon on Eden? Because like
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what the fuck this guy is doing. Wants to add KYC to verified accounts. Like still can't get rid of these bots. The
It's
bots
so
are
annoying how there's some changes every week that and like everything breaks all the time.
Yeah, and the bots are still there after all this time.
Yeah, did you see that the retweet like Elon telling Jack Dorsey that the problem with Twitter is the bots in like
Yeah,
2020?
I remember.
So,
dude,
Look
they're
where we are
so
now.
bad. Yeah, I woke up this morning and like I log on to Twitter and my notifications are probably like every other one is a bot that has me tagged in some giveaway or quote tweeting something.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and
And
meanwhile,
yeah,
if you try to make a legitimate account, they're giving you issues. Like they give you an
there's
unsolvable captcha.
yeah.
there's ways to like for me as a user, there's ways for me to block it so that I don't see it. The problem is that I feel bad blocking in the way that it allows you to because or filtering because then you don't see like any real people that aren't verified or don't follow you or like there's all of these like small little kind of adjustments you can make to the filtering, and by doing that you're capturing a lot of people that are new to the platform or maybe like just reply guys that would be a funny reply. You could get ratioed by some nobody and you'll never know because like you have these settings that are not allowing you to see um like the bots essentially. Yeah, it needs to get fixed quickly. Um Any of you been sleuthing around in the NFT world? It's been a while for me. The last thing I did was there was a new like art blocks mint with Jordan Lyle. He was the old like meme founder, and they're like little block hearts that you can uh, get physical like blocks of and construct your like heart to kind of match it on chain. Kind of cool, bridging physical and digital stuff, but
Yeah,
NFT market seems like so completely dead and wrecked outside of Milady's maybe
Yeah.
that
even Milady's right now
the price wrecked.
a bit. I haven't seen as many like interesting free mints and stuff as like a couple months ago.
I think that was like a meta that got overrun really quickly and
Yeah, they would just
was
dump everything.
yeah, just like there were some grifters that understood they could kind of control that meta and were just fleecing
Yeah, a lot
the
of them
Milady
just
community.
they like pump to like 0.1 on launch and they just die. That was a lot of them.
Yeah, they'd collect their like 100 ETH from the
Yep.
mint and then just like
Yep.
leave it to die. Um, I'm interested in whether or not they will have like whether they become just like a part of like crypto culture, similar to like punks. Like it's like the duality of the NFT like PFPs. You have either like the punk people or Milady people, and those are kind of the ones that will remain.
Yeah.
But then you have the cute meta, right? Like the ones that aren't really going anywhere are
You think it's
like
gonna come back?
I think there are some that they do so much outside of crypto that it's not about like them coming back. It's about them just staying relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Like Chubby Corns is like a great example of that. I think penguins, as much as people may love or hate, I think penguins are one, like in that cute meta that stick around. Um, I still am like a huge Tubby Cat lover, so like I pray that um, Tubby Cats just get like a attention bid. Not for mine, like I'm not gonna sell any of the Tubby Cats I own, but more just for the market morale, stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
yeah,
I don't
I
know if
think I
these
think the
NFTs are
memes
coming
like
back.
stay. Well, so for like penguins and chubby corns, they're like some of the most popular like gifs on Giphy and
Hmm.
I'm trying to think some of the other like sites that have pictures and gifs that people use. So they've breached into like a attention sphere outside of crypto. I think that helps them sustain and like stay around, right? The other thing is like when you have something like chubby corns, there's only 250 of them. So you don't really have the volatility from whales owning large portions of the supply and moving the market around, or
Hmm.
large groups of holders dumping due to drama that's happened within like the team or community because there's not a large community, right? Like
Yeah.
they're all pretty diamond-handed holders that wanted a chubby corn for like some specific reason.
What do you think about the apes? You think they're gonna go to zero?
Zero, no, zero will be hard, but are they
Listen,
dead? I mean, I
listen.
think they're done. I think they're done. Like
I
they're
remember in
cooked.
April. I remember laughing at them in April when they were like 46 ETH and they're 27 ETH now.
I remember being mad that my that I had one sell for 42.69, 42.69 because like it was when they were getting repriced and getting like pushed up into the hundreds.
Oh.
And I did it as a joke because before that week or weekend, it was like I think the highest one was like maybe 10 or 12. Like they weren't going for very much at the time. And I had a
Nice.
friend in from out of town that he was a guy I worked with at like a different crypto company, and him and his girl came in to visit, so we went downtown having food by the water at this restaurant, and I want to say it was like Bergie and Sinners were like blowing me up. Like, dude, delist your ape. Like, you have to delist it. There's some guy like sweeping right now. And I'm like, I'm out right now. Like, I don't have a laptop. My trust are on me. Like, I'm fucked. I guess I'm just going to be,
Damn.
I'll have 40 something more ETH when I get home. And, and yeah, I did. It sold like right in front of me. And then I rage bought like four, I think, apes with that. And, it ended up working out well. But
The
that was
classic
like
rage
a,
buy.
that was like a higher tier one, so it was like shit. I could have gotten that was one I probably could have gotten like close to 200 for.
Oh damn.
Um, yeah, but it didn't matter. Like they all pumped.
Are they
I
even
made
doing
off on them.
anything? Are Yuga Labs even
They're
doing anything?
doing no, they dropped a new thing called a moon puzzle, or they're coming out with a moon puzzle that's like I don't even. There was so much word salad going on in the description of what they're trying to offer to the like Bitcoin, uh, whatever Yuga did on Bitcoin. It's like specific to those NFTs, and I thought that was like kind of the nail in the coffin for them when they created this new company to make NFTs on ordinals, and like it was just like it just smelled so cash grabby and like lame that like, oh, everyone's on ordinals now, let's set up a company and let's launch like an NFT on
Oh
ordinals
man, that
to
died in like a week.
extract more money. Yeah, like it really was like just a terrible move for them. Yuga didn't have to do anything, right? Like Punks and Larva Labs kind of set a good example that if you have a community that sees that there is value in the project because of the community, the opportunities, like all the things that they kind of attribute to having like a quote unquote higher value like holder base, like people
Yeah.
that are more well off. Not higher. I'm not saying higher value in regards to like their morals or anything like that. Just like literally, having a bit more capital. Once you kind of have that foundation as like being known for like uh, you could meet people that lead to high value connections, and like the community helps out a lot of people, and like everyone's pretty well off. It's kind of hard to like break down that community unless something terrible happens, right? Like um the floor will kind of stay consistent because the people that own the majority of the supply and have the price there are well off. Um, but
Yeah, it feels like punks have
they did too
the
much, right?
OG factor that apes
They do,
just
yeah,
don't.
yeah. See, apes could have still had. I'm trying to think of the way to put it. Like, not a. It would have turned into an OG factor because they would have been the one from this cycle, right?
Yeah,
And like they could have held on to that narrative that like, and then maybe like each cycle, like there is a PFP that's able to then take on that narrative that like they are the leading like profile picture group of that cycle. But like the thing is that I don't know, the NFT market pisses me off right now, right? Because you have like then you have D Gods, which is like a Solana version of Bored Apes that thinks that they're something different, and like people the way that they get excited, about the drops and like things like that, it just makes me really question
yeah.
like what things good the
The
people who are
Milady,
excited about have. Like
the
I don't get it. Like
the Milady
um
chart that compares how many Miladies is every project above
yeah.
them.
Yeah, I've seen that. I
And
used
then
to. I was watching it for a while when they were on their little tear.
yeah,
It was pretty good.
it's funny.
Yeah, but I think that Yuga did too much. Like they thought that they had like created a way to kind of continuously fundraise by launching new NFTs for their collection. And once they went the ordinal route, once they stopped tying it into the Bored Apes ecosystem, that's when they fucked themselves like really bad, I think.
Yeah, when I see someone with an ape, it just feels like they're out of touch. I don't
I
feel that
remember
way.
when I
I don't feel it that way when I see a punk.
Yeah, I remember when like I had some apes and like there was one that I really really liked. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be my forever ape. And then I remember the moment I was like, I can't wait. I'm selling these as soon as I get home. like like when the sentiment changed because you
Yeah,
just see so much stuff like
the vibe
w-
dies.
yeah, the vibe dies. You start seeing that like there are a lot of people that are becoming more vocal because they have this ape, right? And they are not the type of people that I would like to be around or associate with. And that like point or like metric of association in NFTs is really important because like these NFT uh, communities try to be a social club, right? Where like it's more than just a group in a Discord. We're a valuable group because we provide things to one another. We're there for each other. We uh, this guy needs audio people. Like I've helped him with that. Oh, we needed devs for a project. This ape, that's how you would imagine, and you want it to be. So when you see that a lot of it becomes tainted, and it's actually not those people, and the majority of them don't have very much, uh, you know, security knowledge, and it becomes like a stain on your own brand. You're like, fuck, why am I like holding this thing? Like people aren't going to find them valuable for much longer once they start seeing these like messages and tweets and like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and punks, I used to give like I still like to fuck with punks and give it a hard time because like I hated that they used to say they were the first NFT. It's like you weren't the first NFT. You used that to try to like that was their marketing ploy to like loop people in. And Etheria, if you remember Etheria tiles, came back, and they were on like a trolling tear for a little bit, and I think got them like I don't know if it was them, but you know, like they got them to change the website at the time. or I if they didn't, the website miraculously changed and removed the the first, and it said like one of the first. Um, yeah, but I don't know. I've always liked punks regardless. I remember Carbon Base was like super early to punk, one of the like earlier guys to punks, and I remember when he was trying to shill him to me and Bergie, uh, and like was sending us pictures, and we were just like laughing, like, dude, I'm not buying that. Here.
Wait, what do you
Then
mean early to
we,
punks? Like in what year?
like he was early, like he was sending us punk. This is probably in um 2017, early
Oh shit.
2018 or something. It's like when we had it was our first group chat. It was just the three of us. And I remember him sending us like the punks that he was buying, and we were like laughing about them. Just like, dude, why are you buying these? But we didn't have any room to talk. And eventually I remember Carbon kind of like he actually kind of got me into appreciating like NFT art, you know, not just like PFP stuff. But there was a period of time where that's actually how I became kind of early to art blocks. It was because Carbon had got me into like appreciating some of the online art that was actual art, and I started just like daily scrolling different NFT marketplaces, looking at stuff. I didn't care about the artists, I didn't care about anything like that. I was just like buying stuff that I thought looked cool. Or maybe I'd find an artist whose style I really liked, and then I would start buying up like a lot of stuff from them. Um, and then Bergie introduced me to art blocks because the squiggles were out, and he was like, yeah, these things are, he loved them because of the memetics, like
Mm,
it's just a squiggly line, it pisses everyone off. And like one
yeah.
of our bigger theses at that time was like uh so someone had like a quotable, there was an account with like quotable tweets or quotable like crypto people, and we used to say like invest in things when nobody understands and sell them for much more when like many people understand.
Yeah, basically.
Because you know, like if you're bullish on like a narrative, or you see like a way that something could become something else, those are like the best bets, right? Because the risk reward is so high, like, or the risk is so low and the reward could be so high. It's like, what's $100 or what's $1,000 if the reward could potentially be, you know, 100 to 1,000x of that.
Yeah, as long
Um,
as you have the basic sense to even detect these things. Some people just don't.
yeah, for sure. And with squiggles, we could see that they were really evoking a type of emotion from people. People did not like the squiggly lines,
Is
so it
that the
made us like,
chromie squiggles or something else?
yeah, yeah, crummy
Yeah,
squiggles.
yeah. That's funny.
So yeah, we were making a lot of memes about how they moved and how the backgrounds changed colors, and like there are still people that don't know that about them. Um, but yeah, I remember also like I was on a spaces with Deez and some people, and Deez was talking about how bullish he was on him, and they weren't even in ETH yet. They were like still under 1 ETH. And he was like, I don't know if I could like, you know, tell someone that they should buy it, you know, at 1 ETH when I minted a bunch of these, but like, you know. And yeah, I like totally agree with him. I thought that art blocks, and I still think that art blocks will have some type of history, like in Ethereum culture, and will have provenance. Um, you know, whether or not that is good for all of art blocks or um, just squiggles. I kind of think squiggles are like a leverage bet on art blocks because it's the first uh, the first one by Snowfro, like to be on art blocks, you could say. So I've tried to get like a few of all of the ones that he's put out, like the friendship bracelets. He just did the heart ones. We've got squiggles, all the art blocks ones like that, because yeah, if they continue to kind of be like, you know, the front runners in like digital art and experimentation of art on chain, then I think the first year like grails will like always have value to them.
Did you see O'Peppins?
Yeah, yeah. I love
It's
O'Peppins.
an interesting concept.
It's crazy to me that they've amassed the price attention that they have.
Yeah,
But I love like what Jack does. I really like the simplicity of like his work, his style. Um,
yeah.
I've been a big fan of his for like when he was just doing visualized value and just starting out. I remember when he like, you know, didn't have a huge following and he was pumping all that stuff out and he was just super consistent, never stopped. Uh, and I worked with him for a little bit with another guy on a project. We didn't end up pushing it out. I want to connect with him. We should probably go back to that and work on it. But me, Roderick, um, Jack, and a friend of ours named Jonathan were working on something together like 2 years ago, maybe. And then I don't remember what happened, like why the development stopped, but it was a really slick app that I think would get a lot of use now. It's not crypto related, like whatsoever.
Hmm.
But yeah, it kind of embodied the style he's known for. It was super simplistic, blacks, whites, straight lines, circles. Um, we added some cool like visual effects and sound effects to it, and it's a meditation app. But I won't give more than that.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it was cool shit. What were you doing prior to your Parliament joining, and we'll just say like on-chain degeneracy arc?
Uh, well, I've been on chain for a while. I mean, not in a row, but since 2020, it was like straight up without stopping. Um, I think at that point, that was the beginning of this year. Uh, Actually, at that point, I was leverage trading a lot because you remember in February, all the alts were pumping so hard, like fucking everything for like 1 month, like January, February, I forgot. So I was trading that. Um, I can't even recall what else was happening at that time. Before that, in 2022, I was coping about about all the losses from 2022, uh, trying to survive. Trying to find the most interesting DeFi stuff. Like GMX at the time was big. GMX, GNS. Uh, was
Yeah,
more.
Muni. Word to Muni, the couch. He, you know, uh, probably one of the like I think like most well uh, positioned when it comes to like his morals in the crypto space. Muni is like definitely one of the most like morally sound people that I've talked to over the last few years, and because of him, I was really early to GMX. And then there was another one at the time called Alchemist, not Alchemix, but Alchemist, if you remember. But you had to like, I'm trying to think what you did. I talked about it with someone on a different pod, but you created like a vault on chain and deposited like an NFT into it, and then that NFT was like accruing yield from the tokens. Like I don't know, it was a really kind of esoteric initial setup. There weren't any docs. It was like a notion that was shared with you in Discord, and just followed along and set up your wallet.
Hmm.
And but yeah, Muni put us onto those, and he's usually really early to finding projects with good teams that are kind of in their infancy stages. But he never like takes a position. He never buys. He always gives us the alpha, and he's like, yeah, I think GMX was like $1, and he was like telling
Jeez.
us about how that was going to be, that was going to be the one. to look out for, and how bullish he was on it, and
There's
talk to
so
their
many
team and all
forks,
stuff.
so many
Yeah, we're like,
forks of the
Yeah.
GLP model.
we were just like, why this one? you know. uh, but yeah, he's always come through, and he's great. You know, he's a great person to have as a friend. Like anytime you need something, he's one who will give you, um, you know, like unbiased like feedback, or kind of give it to you tell you how it is. He's not scared to like tell you that he thinks that you're doing something wrong and should do something differently, or that if you do something, it's going to look really bad. He's definitely not a yes man. So I've
Yeah.
always liked being able to have him to bounce things off of, or heat check something. So love you, Couch. Come back to Twitter. What about you, Weka? When did you kind of start your on-chain journey, and what were you doing
Well,
prior?
we joined crypto back in September 21, and I think it took me a couple months to get on chain and start losing money. Maybe not even like a couple months, but I remember Ethereum was the first chain, obviously, that I went on, and the gas fees just completely fucked me over. I think I was a student at the time, so yeah, not much money. I think I lost like half of all my money trying to put a transaction through on Ethereum when the gas was like $100 for one transaction. That was kind of crazy. So then we chilled in a hyperbolic time chamber before 2022. Later on 2022, I remember Kanto came out. I spent a lot of my time there before hopping on Arbitrum and
I can't
finding
believe it.
some. I can't believe it. Before finding some, I was decently early to some of the DeFi stuff later last year, and then we had the small bit of Arbitrum season early this year. I think some projects like Y2K, Lodestar, even though that project never really took off, and then Radiant as well.
Lodestar.
Yeah.
What? That sounds super familiar.
I think it's a compound fork on Arbitrum.
Okay. Yeah, Y2K is still good. Y2K.
I really like the Y2K product actually. Like,
definitely paid out well with their earthquake events.
Yeah.
The problem is that like there was a great MVP, especially with like those with the market conditions that occurred. You got to really see like what happens in an earthquake event.
Yeah.
The problem is that like if you're on the other side of that, like you just lose. Right? Like
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, it's a two-sided market, right? But it still feels a niche for me. I love the marketing back in the day, and then like post-launch, it was just like a month, I think, and then they got the first deep pegging event. So it was good timing for them for sure.
New Order is, I think, like one of the most kind of overlooked groups that exist in DeFi. They have a lot of like cool products that I didn't even know that had come out of there. Like there's one called God, I'm gonna go crazy now. It starts with an M, but it's like a DAO management like dashboard, DAO management tools. Then they have Y2K. They've got Redacted. There's Pool Shark. Hidden Hand, like they have so many products.
Yeah, they're not really
about
like
to drop Dinero.
Yeah, they're not really like upfront about it that they're associated with the projects they're building, but it all feels unique. Like every product
because
they
it's
come up with is feels a niche.
Because it's not all the same team. So like kind of how it works is like they have New Order that's kind of like their original DAO that a lot of builders like work within or and are from, and then like different groups from within there will build products. So they're able to kind of piggyback off of the resources of others in the group, and if they need something, like let's say they could use some front end help, one group could use some front end help, well, they know that there's this pool of talent within New Order that they can reach out to and say like, hey, is someone who's working on Redacted, are you able to help me here?
That's pretty
and
cool.
and I like that idea. Like we tried to do that back in like late 2018, early 2019, I want to say, with Powered by Nonce. Like the idea was, and we had kind of taken it from Based, the Based Ghouls, if you guys remember Based. We really looked up to them at the time, and we were like, for like what they were kind of doing in the like crypto aesthetic and vibe space. Like they were building a community in a way that was different. And everyone just kind of like loved these. It was very like crypto native, it felt like very crypto. So yeah, they had their group was called the Ghouls. It was like the Base Ghouls, and they were all like very anon. Like even we had a call with them one time. They all used like voice changers when they were on the call. It like totally threw us off because it was like for some of the people I brought on, it was their first like call with other DeFi devs. So they were like, what's happening here? But we love the idea that like, there was just this group and that they couldn't be labeled core devs. Because kind of a problem I saw in the industry is like, if you're a core dev for a protocol, then that becomes like a title deed for you. You can't ever go work on anything else. You're always just like, oh, you're the Ethereum core dev. Oh, you're the Aave core dev. Like, like
If you leave, you
people are
betray.
more, yeah, precisely. So like, and it's not even about leaving. It's more about like you being boxed into only being seen as this thing. So the idea was create this kind of clubhouse for developers, artists, engineers, like people in crypto that could all work together on different things, and then it would all be from underneath like a brand, and the brand not be like a real company. So it was more like a clubhouse. And we just kind of would vet people, and then there's this pool of resources that you can kind of pull from. And I think the problem at the time was that like we were building and wanting to build things in like the NFT and kind of emerging DeFi space. And a lot of the developers that are around and founders of protocols now were the ones that were starting to build things at that time. So trying to get all of them to say like, hey, let's all work together and build stuff. They were like, yeah, we should all like work together on something, but I'm like busy working on this right now, or I'm busy building this right now. So a lot of it didn't materialize the way that we would have imagined. Kind of like right place, wrong time, because it was like all the right people to meet and to like be able to work with, but like just bad timing because everyone had already come up with the ideas for the protocols they wanted to work on next, and we're kind of like in the stages of doing that. But we still kept the group, and like we still bring people into it, like here and there to like work on little projects, and like I'll never let it die. Like it'll always be like our development arm.
So
Because
do
I
you
love
feel
the
like
meme, I
that?
love the aesthetic.
Do you feel like the stigma is still a thing where if you are a core dev on something, and because I
I
feel like
think
I've
it
seen, I
is
mean,
less
yeah,
than
like
it
you
was
see
before.
Stanny from Aves on Lens, and nobody criticizes that.
Well, Lens isn't a DeFi protocol. Lens is a social fi app.
So you're saying if you go from one DeFi protocol to another, I mean,
Yeah. I think like a lot of the problem comes when there's tokens involved. So like if you're a developer or a core dev for a protocol and then you were to leave to go work on another protocol, people immediately think that like there's something wrong or something happened. Um, and that's not always the case. Like people just grow, their interests change. They want to be excited in what they work on. They want to be,
yeah,
they want to get up and be happy that they're working on something and like
yeah,
look forward to it. And I'm not saying that this is applies to Stani in whatever way, but if money markets and lending has been your life for, I don't know, 5 years, 5.5, 6 years, whatever, like don't you think that there are other things that guy wants to build and work on? And
Yeah,
like,
it's funny in
at-
tech startups, like there's no stigma like that. People hop jobs like every 2 years or something.
yeah. But yeah, there's definitely not, it's not as bad as it was back then. I also feel like it's because there's a lot more that you can do now. Like DeFi was a really new thing back at that
Yeah.
time. So the idea of like starting a project and then working on something else, people were like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Did he burn bridges at the last place? Like, does he have too much on his plate now? Is he going to, produce less at the first place? And yeah, it was just easier if you didn't have to worry about who are the developers building it, like specifically, but there's this group who have developers who are doing it, and that group puts out good products. Because like you don't know any of the developers that build your games. You may know the like you may know the founder of the company, right? Like who was a game developer, but like you don't know the list of developers that fucking built Skyrim. You don't care either.
Yeah.
Like you literally don't care.
Sometimes there's a superstar dev, but it's rare.
That's what I mean. Like every once in a while, you'll have the founder, like a superstar that's on the team, so they make a point to showcase that like he's there or she's there. But you know, I used to get into this with people in the early like privacy talks. It's like, they want doxed people in crypto, but like they're not asking what engineer built the messaging part of the Slack app, right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't give a shit who built Slack. You just know the Slack corporation built it. Like, and you're not going to look any further. Like, I guarantee it. There's 99.99% of you will never look further into who built the messaging app on your phone, who built Discord.
I mean, listen,
you know.
you have John Carmack and John Romero. They're superstars.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like those are things that like we make issues in crypto, but they're not issues in the real world. So they were something that, I wanted to address with people that like worked with me. And I think New Order, just wrapping it back up, like I think New Order does a good job or has done a good job with housing like a developer community and having people that have new kind of cutting edge ideas, and like they're willing to just try things out. Like if they fail, they fail. If they do well, they do well. But they're always experimenting on shit. So super excited to see Dinero when that comes out. I know that's I believe more of a redacted project than New Order, but nonetheless, they're a group I like to keep my eye on. Mm-hmm. We're over time, so I don't want to keep us going too long. Are there any things going on chain? Wow. Are there any things going on chain right now that either of you want to talk about, go over? I've got a couple things that I'll close with, but I figured I'd see if there's any things you guys wanted to say before we wrap it up.
Premia Blue, based.com.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing actually. Feels like a ghost town elsewhere, but maybe there was
the
V3 of
that
protocol.
That shitcoin Dorkel or something. Like,
what now?
You saw that, right?
Which one?
It's like a Pepe that looks like a Sith Lord or something. And
I have no idea.
Because everything is so dead, all the meme coin channels started talking about it at the same time. It's like 12 million market cap or something now.
Yeah, that's too much for my taste.
Yeah, it's too late.
Yeah, it's all over.
It's so funny how things change. Like now in the bear market, 10 million market cap coin. Like, yep, no, it's done.
If it's over 1 million, it's over.
Too late. My friends are aping like 30K like market cap coins, and it's like it's hard to go back to aping on chain that way with like small amounts of money, because like you're just so used to like throwing 10, 20, 30 or whatever at something because it has liquidity. And then it's like you go back to your roots, and it's like you can't deploy more than maybe like $500 without pushing a price like 5%. You have to twop all day, like literally all day long, just to like get a position you're okay with.
Also, another thing on base, a GMX4 called Netherfi.
Yeah, I read about that one actually.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I was in the pre-seed, and the tokenomics are just not looking good. Not looking good at all.
You heard it here first, folks. Seed investors telling you not to buy. All right, so before we wrap it up, the last two things I want to cover. You all see me every episode with my lovely Catboy here. Anata V2s are about to go live. I have my files. I probably will use it tomorrow. Don't hold me to it. I'm going to see if I can get it all set up. I had a couple parameters I needed to still tweak, but pretty excited for those. They have full full body tracking. The hands are my favorite though. So you'll see me playing with those quite a bit. This is not a show. I'm not telling you to go buy Anata's, but definitely go check out Anata's Twitter. If it's something that speaks to you, if you're an Anon, pseudo Anon in crypto, and you want a cool VTuber app for your meetings, these things are great. I get nothing but compliments on them. So Anata V2 coming out. Check their Twitter for that. And then Premia Blue. These guys were stumbling over each other to say the domain a minute or two ago. But today and on the 8th, we're doing some demos of the new version of the exchange, Premia Blue. If you have not reached out to me yet and you'd like to see it, shoot me a DM, send me your email address. I will send you a link to the call. We're doing one today in a little more than an hour, and then we're doing one on the 8th. So be sure to hit me up, get you exclusive access, sneak peek to Premia Blue. That will be releasing right around the corner. For those of you that are not privy to what that is, go check out our website, premia.blue. If you want the low-level kind of explanation of what we're doing, you can go premia.blue/v3.pdf. And there is our research paper. That is it for today. We're a little bit over time, but I'm not a stickler. I don't mind us going over. Weka, JC, always a pleasure. Thank you guys for joining me today while my, what does he like to call himself? While his spectrum, my spectrum sitter was out for the day. Yeah, I call him my handler. He keeps me from getting in trouble, but spectrum sitter he prefers. And yeah, anytime. Let's do this again.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the viewers.
Yep. Thank you guys for joining us. See you tomorrow at 11 a.m. EST. Later.
Bye-bye.